Perth 2020. Society is in ruins, and a virus runs rampant among the world's humble citizens. They are lost. In these dark times, three wayward nerds cross paths at the House of India and realize they are destined to be friends. And so they did. This is their story. The story of the Side Quest.
I haven't told Matt about my dream yet, so that'll be a good...
This will be great. Welcome, everybody, to the Side Quest podcast. My name is Luke.
I'm BJ.
And I'm Matt. We're back together.
So, yeah, Matt didn't die. We lied.
Creative differences have been solved. Matt signed on to another 2-year contract.
As long as I get
Thanks to Joey.
e-girl pillows every month.
Thank you, Joey, for being a scab for us.
Scab?
Yeah, that's what they call people like... You know in Billy Elliot, when the dad goes back to work in the mine and everybody's like, you fucking wanker. That's being a scab, because he's working while everybody's on strike.
Oh, gotcha. So what was that? Drew Barrymore?
Yeah.
Yeah, Drew Barrymore.
If she would have just waited, like, what, a week? Not even?
I'll give her a little bit of a pass, because every day that she wakes up, she forgets everything that happened the previous day.
I'm just going to put that right there.
Yeah, so she literally could have just waited, not, like 2 days.
Yeah, it was over,
Yeah.
like, almost immediately after that shit.
And now she's probably not going to get any, like, real jobs.
Sorry,
'Cause
burped.
I've seen her on mobile
nobody's
game
gonna-
ads on TikTok. That's the last time I've seen Drew Barrymore.
That's all she's going to have for a
Yeah.
while.
Well, how was the episode with Joey?
It was really good.
Yeah?
Very fun. It was.
Did you talk about GameStop?
Yeah.
We did.
That's good.
We didn't. It wasn't like a full just GameStop podcast, but we got to reminisce. We got to talk about it a bit, and then we just talked about, like, in general, just gaming.
Did you talk about how much Joey gaslights people?
I'm pretty sure he gaslit us a couple times in the episode.
Yep. He constant gaslighting all night too.
I also think he stole my name tag for work, because I haven't been able to find it. So,
Well, no, he probably didn't steal it. It's probably hidden
Anytime Joey
somewhere.
comes over, just hide everything.
yeah. Every time we have a party and Joey's definitely going to be in attendance, I'm like, Matt, where are all the guns?
We didn't he hide the airsoft BB gun?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
in this couch somewhere, I
Yeah.
think.
I hate that.
Yeah.
I just like move around.
Well, no, didn't that happen on the podcast? Like he moved.
He was playing with it, and then I
Yeah.
think it just fell, like, deep down in there.
Yeah, in the pits of Tartarus.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he moved on the couch and we hear like a giant just bang. We're like, what was that? And he's like, well, it's probably the gun. We're like, fucking Joey.
That's Joey for you. Well, how was your little break?
It was great. Okay, as much as like Zion is beautiful, that's where I went for Thanksgiving. I've gone for
Love
like
freeboarding, especially in Zion.
that's the best place too. It's freeboard in Zion.
I mean, for everything that I've seen, and I have seen a lot of it, that does seem like the place to freeboard.
I feel like you watch it like every night.
I watch it more often than you realize.
Every night he jokes about it, but like he's like, I can't go to sleep until I see it. Oh shit, my phone died.
That video is going to get trending in somewhere because BJ will keep watching it.
If we ever make it, I will make it my life's mission to make freeboarding in Zion also make it.
2. And then
Freeboarding in Zion 2 has to be a milestone for us.
Yeah.
It was really great. Went to Utah, flew into Vegas, which was crazy because it was during the F1 race.
Damn.
And so that's like a whole. It started off being like a shit show I'll explain a little bit. So, like everyone was like, it was. So normally, like, because it's an F1 race, it gets like promoted by itself. But this year they were like, we're gonna sink in like billions of dollars in advertising, as like because like F1 will come and that brings all the like the advertising they need. So this year,
You think it's because of the Netflix show has been making pretty much everybody?
yeah,
jump
and
into
well,
F1?
Miami already had like a Grand Prix, and so that was kind of like the United States version of what is it called? I'll think about it later. But there's a European track that's like in the city, Monaco, and it's like everybody in their yachts pull up, like it's like the high.
It looks
class.
like a Mario Kart race.
Yeah, it's crazy, and
Isn't
it's
the thing that Tony did in Iron Man 2?
yes,
Yeah.
Monaco. Yeah, that's like the super glamorous race. So like they want to do a Monaco in Miami, and then Vegas being Vegas, they're like, well,
Yeah.
we need to do one.
We need a Vegas race.
Yeah. Well, so then they like jacked up all the prices, and then like nobody was going in like in these absurdly overpriced hotel rooms because hotel rooms in Vegas are already pretty cheap because they just want you to
Yeah,
sit.
They want you
All
to
your
jump
money
in
is
and
going to be
gamble. Yeah.
spent in the
Yeah.
casino.
So then, like the night before, they drop them like down to like $18
Shit.
because nobody's taking these rooms. So FP1 is the first practice race. So during that, like 8 minutes into it, on the first lap, Ferrari goes over a pothole that was supposed to be welded down, and it wrecks the underside of the car. In it, they scrape the frame, and it ruined the battery. Now, if you have any sort of like, if you need to replace parts from anything damaged during a practice race, you get a time penalty, which is so you don't want to wreck during practice race. Like that's the big thing. Just don't wreck, and you won't get a time penalty. But the practice races do have to do with setting the fastest lap time. If you set the fastest lap time, you get placed first. It kind of is whoever's fastest. That's the order of the race. So Ferrari gets penalized 5 seconds for
for something that they couldn't control.
yes. Then the next day, because that was a shit show, FP2 second practice race, they kick out all the fans that have paid for seats to watch FP2. They kick them all out. So the FIA is like the people that are in charge of the rules and pretty much kicked everybody out. And they Las Vegas like people like sued them. Anyways,
That's a
the
shit
whole
show.
time everyone's like, this is going to be the worst race of all time. This is an utter failure. The race itself, and all this is taking place at like 1 and 2 in the morning. The race itself had like, I think like 52 overtakes, which is where somebody passes somebody, which is like the most in any F1 race ever because of just the way the track was designed. It looked like a pig upside down, where it's like, here's its back.
The back and then hooves.
Yeah. And then a little like snout. And because they had like so many straightaways, everyone was overtaking, and it turned out to be a great success because the drivers were like, this was so much fun just overtaking people. It was great. So that's what happened. So flew in there. My ADHD went wild in the airport. Las Vegas airport could be so much smaller
I'm imagining
if they took out all the casinos. Carmen was like, come on, Matt. And I'm like,
I'm imagining you and Carmen going through the Smiling Friends Go to Brazil thing with the whole race stuff happening.
yeah, it was well, like they like changed the sign. Like this is where I think they spent millions of dollars on advertising. In the airport, they changed like every sign conceivable. Every sign, they just put like a sticker over it and turned it into F1. It was like, you know, when you get to the airport, they show like level 1 passenger pickup, level 2 Uber and car sharing, level 3 parking garage. It was like all those same thing, but then they had like a race car next to each one. It's like the bathroom. It was like
Level 2, you can Uber to F1.
They're like, make a quick pit stop in the bathroom. Like everything was redesigned.
And advertising in a space like that where it's like, you know, commerce and travel especially, that costs a lot of fucking money. And for them to kick out all the fans on day 2.
Yeah. So anyway, so got design, have a great hotel. It's beautiful there. But one of my favorite spots though is there's this hot tub at our hotel that faces like the mountains. And I bring like 4 beers, sit in the hot tub, and it's one of the best parts of the whole trip. I'll show you the picture. I took like some like nice like cinematic photos because I was like, this is just so amazing. I need to capture it. Like here.
Didn't you do that last year too? Where it's like the mountains and shit and all that. Or no,
And then like, yeah, that's the wide, but it's like, it's just amazing. So had a great time doing that. And then on the last day, it was like super cloudy on Friday. And it was beautiful. It was like, even though it was overcast and cloudy, it just made it prettier. And and we went to the backside of the canyon, and it was snowing. So had a great time. Missed y'all though. So glad to be back.
Hell yeah.
Anything memorable from your week?
Not really.
People at work are just shit, but that's about it.
Well, you beat Gaiden, but did you already talk about that on last week?
You mentioned
I think we talked about it before you left. But yeah, Gaiden, incredible. Don't start with Gaiden. I don't care what RGG says on Twitter.
They said to start with Gaiden.
They said
Yeah,
it's
they
the
were like,
perfect
it's the
jumping
perfect
on
starting
point.
point.
It's not.
It's not. You need to play every single other game to get anything out of this shit.
Don't they like hard like call back to like even Yumi?
Yeah, Yumi
Yeah.
is a huge
Yeah.
like plot thread in this. Kazuma is a big plot thread. So you realistically, for that game, you need to start with 0 and just go.
Yeah. They're definitely saying this just to be like, hey, if you only played 7, then play this to get a little bit of a crash course so that you can understand 8. But if it's like, don't start here. Like, I think realistically what they're probably meaning is like most of you motherfuckers who played 7,
Yeah.
this is where you can jump in now to get a little bit of a quick 5-minute history on Kiryu, and then it'll jump into 8.
I don't fuck with that. Play all the games, you cowards.
Hey, I beat 0, okay?
That's
Which
true.
you never thought was gonna happen.
I never thought that was gonna happen, and now, like, he'll be scrolling through like Game Pass or something, and be like, "Ooh, Kiwami 2." I'm like,
I did
yes,
it-
do it.
I did that last night, dude. We've been watching a bunch of good shit the past like 3 days.
Yeah, we've started our little Christmas movie extravaganza. We watched 2 very shitty Hallmark movies,
But they were so much fun.
They-
I can't describe. I tried to explain to like Kevin and the guys at work how much fun I had watching Hallmark movies. They're
it's
like,
just fun
"That sounds
tearing stuff
stupid."
apart together. Like, that's the best part of those movies.
And then the whole time Carmen's like, "I love this."
yeah, Carmen was defending them really hard.
Well, because aren't they like borderline made for people like Carmen, where it's like, oh, this
White
is like,
women.
yeah,
Yeah.
but like it's just like this is their cup of, like this is their
Yeah,
this is their
100%.
berserk, all right?
Yeah, basically.
That they like my mom and my sister, holy fuck, it's Hallmark movies every year, and I'm like so which and I remember like walking home one night, my sister's watching it 'cause she's sick right now, so she's like cuddled up on the couch just watching movies. I'm like, so which giant billionaire CEO has a Ebenezer Scrooge type mentality to
Well,
Christmas?
this one it feels like
and is she the small town girl from Little Oklahoma?
it's the other. It's always it seems to be the other way around in both movies that we watch. Where
Yeah,
it's
and they were-
big city girl, small town boy.
The plot skeleton in these 2 movies were exactly the same.
Because Carmen would be like, "Look, see, this one's like way worse," and we're like, "Carmen, this is the exact same
It's
movie."
the exact same movie. Big city girl with big career goes home to help parents with struggling business or selling house. Financial reasons, basically. 2-week deadline to get thing done. Falls in love with person helping them do thing. Decides not to go back to big city. Decides to stay home.
I
and
did like the twist of the second movie though, where it was like, "Oh, what are you doing? Why are you trying to kiss me? You already have a girlfriend, Candace." And he's like, "Candace is my brother with autism's caretaker."
Yeah,
you bitch.
He goes into this long speech about how his brother has ASD, and we were like, "What is that?"
And Peter was like, "Did he say ADHD?" Because they're like, "My family can't handle him."
He's like, "My parents have been in counseling for the last like 20 years,"
Dog.
and then
And when I'm away and when I come back, I can see the toll that it's taken on them.
Yeah.
No, that sounds like something that would have been put in a movie like the second the World Health Organization says, "Hey, ADHD is a thing."
Like when the
And
ADHD,
all these-
where every doctor was prescribing kids like ADHD meds.
But ASD, as we came to find out by searching it after the fact, is just autism.
Autism
So-
spectrum disorder, yeah.
Basically, what he's saying is the kid is like talking about Five Nights at Freddy's all the time, and the parents just want to kill themselves so bad.
They go meet the dad, and he's like rocking back and forth. He won't fucking shut up about Roblox.
It's like Bottom 87, Bottom 87.
Oh god.
I hear Markiplier when I close my eyes.
So they were great. And then the other one, there's like, she's got to save her dad's business with gingerbread competition, which they have a horrible entry and they lose, but then they got
Deus Ex Machina because they're like, oh, you lost the competition, but we want you to be on our baking show
and write a baking book.
Yeah,
about your dead mom's recipe.
They get like 50 opportunities in like 2 seconds just from like failing.
Yeah.
And the best part of that movie was coming up with the B plot line that you and I came up with and wasn't related to the movie at all.
The dad.
Because there's this one point in the movie where she picks up one of the dad's like bills and then puts it in her pocket and leaves. So me and Matt were like, what if like he had the money to pay it, but he needed that bill to be able to send it off.
Yeah.
And now it's like the bank's like banging on his door. He's having like a standoff with the police.
The killdozer.
Yeah, he does some killdozer shit, and then finally at the end of the movie, she comes back and gives him the thing, and it's all good.
Yeah. I've been looking everywhere for this.
He's like strapped pots and pans to his body to deflect bullets from the police.
They're like wheeling him away in like a straitjacket, and
he's literally on like one of those things like Hannibal Lecter.
Yeah, on a like a hand cart.
Yeah,
yeah. I've been looking for that piece of paper. So, and then we watched
the best Christmas movies, Harry Potter.
Harry Potter. Yeah,
and I know they're making a new Harry Potter series, so watching Harry Potter, I've been thinking who could play who, and I brought this up to Matt, and he loved the idea, but I think Sir Davos would make an incredible Dumbledore.
Oh, yeah.
We did watch like 4 at the first night, like it was Sunday. We watched a bunch of Game of Thrones. Daenerys.
He said the last season you lost the dragon.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're in season 7, like officially now. For sure.
I'm ready to see some fucking power metal regular dragon versus zombie dragon fights.
But this is like the boys season where it's like,
yeah, it's the fucking Hound, Tormund,
dude. It was
John.
We were yelling when like they're like, okay, we have to go north of the wall, and then they stop and they meet the Brotherhood guys who got locked up, and then the Hound's there, and Breeze's like, let's go! It's everyone we love.
And Jorah, that shit with Jorah and Jon got me so hard.
There's Jorah, Jon, Tormund,
the Hound,
and Sir Davos.
And Gendry. They bring Gendry back.
Oh yeah, they bring Gendry, and he's got that dope,
that sweet ass hammer,
dude.
Wait, his never mind.
No,
yeah.
That
hasn't been.
But I do love because he's like, all right, don't tell Jon that you're like the rightful heir to the throne.
Yeah,
because you're like the only surviving bastard son of Robert Baratheon.
Oh, that's what I was gonna say. Because
and then he immediately goes and is like,
he's like, hey, I'm Gendry, I'm Robert Baratheon's bastard son, and Davos is like,
but Jon's like, well, we're both bastards, and then Jon says like,
immediately homies.
Yeah, they're like, you're leaner than I thought you would be, and he's like, well, you're shorter than I thought you would be.
I love it's a small detail, but I love that that Gendry's wielding a hammer, just like Robert Baratheon did when he went and because like then on the Trident, the big fight of the rebellion was him and Rhaegar. And he had this fucking massive battle hammer, and Rhaegar has this like Valyrian steel sword.
Well, it also just makes sense because he's a smith, so using a hammer, he's like
he knows
surgical precision with that.
Yeah.
Well, like, and then there's the other shit with like now Arya's back.
Yeah, and she's just like clowning on Sansa's ass,
who has now become a cunt again.
Yeah.
We had talked about that on the drive, where it's just like she kind of acts like this cuz of Littlefinger. Because like when you think about you look at not just her, but like look at all the people she's been around, where it's like
there's a point though, because like right now it seems like Littlefinger's playing like all of them, but there's some stuff in I think it's like the next 2 episodes that's dope as fuck.
I think like for me Sansa, like you can kind of tell that like she's kind of realizing slowly that like, oh yeah, this whole manipulative, like the Game of Thrones is bullshit, but she has no other way of doing anything. Because like again,
Arya calls her out though. She's like, I know what you want though. You want to be sitting on the throne. And then he's like, you're thinking it right now. You can't help but think it right now. And Sansa's like,
yeah, she comes into her room and she's like, we're going to play the Game of Faces. And
I fucking love that scene. Holy shit.
And she finds fucking Walder Frey's face in her bag.
Dude, we haven't talked about, you might have talked about it last week, but when it was not a throwaway episode, but it's like the very end where Arya just
kills all the Freys single-handedly. That was so fucking cool. And I thought it was all a flashback I was like, oh, this is just like, oh, they're setting something up that's gonna happen in like a coming episode. And it's like, no, it's fucking Arya both times, killing everybody.
It's so good.
That I love Arya's like just like becoming like the faceless man and then like doing all that, because like I understand they couldn't do it this way in the show, but in the books, when she's doing all that, the way it's written is way more fucked up, because Arya doesn't like being Arya because of all the terrible shit that's happened to her. Mm-hmm. So she constantly is like, she'll talk in the third person of like, well, Arya did this or Arya did, because, and then when she becomes a fully faceless man,
also pretty,
she full on is just like, well, no one does this, no one does that, but then she's like, but Arya does this, but this person does, and she's constantly like almost full on like personality like disorder issues where she's like, nah, Arya, fuck Arya, I'm not Arya anymore. But then like she has those moments where like,
I mean, being in Winterfell, she's more Arya than she has been in a very long time.
Well, and that seems to be the big thing for a lot of them, is that like they all kind of run back to season 1 them for a little bit.
But then it's like they start to see how the others have changed. They see Bran's new brand of autism, and they're like, Bran's weird now,
and
he's working through it.
And he's working through it.
No, I think. It's ironic because you'll get there, but I think in season 8, the only characters that aren't fucking ruined is Sansa and Arya.
Well, I would be very pissed off if they didn't, keep Arya the goat.
She kind of just consists because they kind of don't have anywhere else for her to go.
My also favorite thing in season 7 is how much Tormund's obsessed with Brienne of Tarth.
I very much want to talk about that.
All down.
Oh, he's like, think of the children we'll make. They'd be fucking giants.
He's walking through the snow with the hound, and he's just like, and she's so tall, dude. She's so tall.
Like, you've met her? And he's like, yeah. He's like, or like he talks about the woman. Oh yeah, like
he's like, yeah, she's the only woman that ever beat me. And Tormund's like, whoa.
Yeah, and then and he's like, oh yeah, the look that she has, like she wants to kill you. And he goes, so you have met her. He's like, I love that look.
And I just have this headcanon that Tormund lays in his little hut, kicking his little feet up in the air, and drawing little pictures of him and Brienne.
They have have they talked about it in the show, that how the wildlings like get married?
How do they?
They have to steal you, so they'll go, and they're not like actually, like they will just go and take you, and if they succeed, you're now married.
So it's like a shroot wedding.
There is like, I forget in what, I don't want to say because without
Spoilers.
like falsely saying, but there is a European like culture where like part of the whole like wedding stuff is like all the brides have to come, or bridesmaids come. They all come.
All the bridesmaids come.
And they have to just steal the groomsmen and then like take them away to like prep for the wedding. So.
Did they talk about bedding ceremonies in Game of Thrones, the show, at all, or no?
Yeah, they talk about it quite a bit, especially with Joffrey's wedding.
And Tyrion's
wedding.
Have they shown it?
Yeah, I mean, they showed it at the Red Wedding because they pick them both up and they carry him to bed, and then that one guy gets put in prison for like 8 years.
Yeah, then everybody else dies.
It's a wild.
Does he? Because remember how the Lannisters were trying to take over the castle, and he was like, we have like your nephew, like, and the guy was like, nope, like,
I'm the Blackfish and I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
And then Jaime just sent him in at one point. And then he was like, fucking drop your weapons and lower the drawbridge. Just let him in. And that's how that ended. And then the Blackfish get killed.
Jaime is another... You were talking that, like, Jaime in season, like, 6 and 7 is, like, legitimately...
Dude, the battle with him and Bronn and the dragons, or the one dragon, was so fucking tight.
I love Bronn being there. I actually really like seeing him again. I was like, hey, this is Bronn.
I also love seeing the guy from the Umbrella Academy as Sam's brother. Dick on.
Oh, and then when Sam fucking just is the best. He cures Jorah.
He cured Jorah fully.
Oh, like the scene where you realize it's him when he sticks his hand out with all the grayscale, and you're like, oh fuck, it's Jorah.
He's like, is Khaleesi here yet?
Yeah. So, Game of Thrones is good.
Yeah, we were saying, he was also telling me that, like, oh yeah, this is now Daenerys at peak, like, she's a different character every scene she's in.
It's true. She's just all over the place, and it drives me crazy.
I was
when like she was also there's a point because we did the part where like John's like, I'll bend the knee to you, my queen.
Yeah, the only thing that
My
Daenerys
queen.
knows for sure right now is that she wants that Jon Snow cock.
Yeah,
she really wants she wants to
wants
keep
her-
hearing him say my queen.
She wants the snowballs.
yeah. Her nephew snowballs, and
Gross.
But the problem is at that same point, Daenerys was like super ready to just let him go. Like she was like, "You're right.
Yeah.
The fucking army of the dead needs to be killed. I'm so sorry for doubting you. Also, you're obviously like."
Yeah, she was
You
all
obviously
down
got
to
stabbed,
not.
actually stabbed in the heart, and 1,000,000 times. I don't know how you're alive.
She fully.
You can go.
She fully, in that moment, trusted him and was gonna let him like be
the
his
king.
own thing.
Yes.
And then John was like, "No, I'll do what you want."
Yeah, I hated that. That part of writing, I'm pretty upset about.
I was talking to BJ about this, and I think the plan, at least in the books, and because that's what they were going based off, is that Daenerys is gonna go mad, like King Aerys. She's gonna, but I think it's going to be some.
I mean, I can already see that she's fucking insane.
But like, it's a thing of like right now, it's like she's just a petulant child.
That's
Like,
what
that's
That's what she's always
Yeah,
been.
That's what
She hasn't.
the whole time I've said she's just a child, and and then she gets mad about. She's like, "Why do people keep treating me like a child? Because you keep acting like one."
But and that's the thing where it's like I think that at least in the books you see a lot more where like, oh, she thinks things through a little bit more, but she's more prone for emotional outbursts.
And then-
but then it's like I think realistically, if they would have planned it better, I think you could have had Daenerys who's like, oh, look she is a good person, but then you see like those subtle twists of like there's something there.
Well, like-
and if they would again, if season 6, 7, and 8, and then if they would have given more seasons, you would have seen a legitimate like, oh, see all these subtle, like see all the times we pointed back to it. Now from here on, it's a descent.
Well,
of, like,
she also has this like, I mean, what I would call magical thinking, which is like in her head because she thinks
She thinks it's right what she's doing.
Yeah, well, like
Everything
it's just
must
like I'm the
happen.
breaker of chains, and I'm like gonna give.
But bend the knee to me, or I'm gonna fucking kill you right now.
Yeah.
she has become like, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Also,
like,
it's like I want a Dothraki horde, even though their culture is raping and pillaging, and they will like canonically they should be like they won't serve you if you don't let them rape.
Yeah, they do really love rape.
Yeah, I did love though that.
I mean, there's an argument in like season 1 where it's like, no, you're not allowed to rape that one. Stop it. We've already raped this pile. We're gonna put that one in the rape pile and then put her in the other pile. And it's like, no, she's a witch priestess. I need her to kill Khal Drogo. You could rape the other ones.
It's true. Well, like that. What's his? Jamie is like. The Dothraki are the best warriors, which is I've again said the Dothraki are the best warriors in the world. And they were like they hunted us. It was a game to them. They had fun.
well, like,
Yeah.
and you think about it too from that point of view. Like, yeah, what is her plan when you now like the only crew she has that would have been like loyal to her is the Unsullied, because like they kind of have to be.
Well,
The Dothraki would have been like, why no rape? What do you mean we can't do that anymore? And she's like, look, well, we're in Westeros now. So I was like, no.
I'm imagining a Dothraki talking to an Unsullied, like, hey, bro, you like raping?
how many women
He's
you
like,
raped this month?
Unsullied do not have cock. And then the Dothraki
Have you
goes,
told Luke about what have you told him about our theory? Is that the
oh, yeah, we have a theory that the Unsullied actually do have dick and balls. And the Masters, since they take them as babies, they tell them, like, we cut off the 8 sinful dicks and left the one pious cock on you, because they never show an Unsullied's actual genitals. So it's like we think that they've just been gaslit this whole time, and he just like has a dick.
Yeah. And he just is like, I can't use this one. I've told that we can't use this one, and if we do, like, we'll die immediately. So
You know, it's like
That's
the
our
whole
theory.
time they're like, yes, so like we've cut off the dick. It's like they put it in their head. It's like it is a shameful thing. You must not talk about that. All
you
these-
only have 1 dick and 2 balls?
Ew.
Gross.
No, they go, we've cut their penises off. Turns out they just been circumcising them. That's all it is.
And then, then when like people see their dick, they're like, "Oh my gosh, you've
That's
been
why
cut! You've been cut!"
That's why they're unsullied, is because it's not as dirty.
It's true. They don't have a like
Smeg.
smack.
That's why they're not sullied by the snake.
We'll get to some uncircumcision later tonight
Yep.
Oh boy.
for next episode.
No, but yeah, Game of Thrones is sick, and I'm very excited for you to like finish it.
Me too. I want to be able to have full conversations.
I mainly just want to talk about like one thing, which I guess you kind of already spoiled it slightly by saying it out loud, but I'm not gonna be the one to do it.
I don't remember.
There's only been a couple things I've like soft spoiled to BJ, and it's the same thing of like where I go.
The only things that you've spoiled for me are to get me like hype and invested in a storyline.
Yeah.
Like he's gonna meet up with him, and it's gonna be fucking sick.
Yeah. It's about to be so fucking
What
dope.
you had said it on last week's podcast, your guess of John's like thing.
Oh yeah,
Like his fate.
Well, no,
by the end of the show, what do you think's gonna happen?
Well, but like also what Ned was gonna tell John about his mom.
What Ned was gonna tell John?
Yeah, he was gonna tell John the truth, what that truth was. Like you said, you guessed, or like this is my theory, or this is what the show's pointing towards. Last week.
I mean, I think that is like him being. Was it? It's not Aegon. It's Rhaegar. Rhaegar's kid and Lyanna's son. Like that has to be like the biggest plot point in the whole thing, because that's so. Jon is related to everyone except the Lannisters in that way when you think about it.
Well, I mean, to be fair though, the Lannisters are making a point to not be related to anybody else.
That's
True.
So,
well, also though,
they're making a very conceited point of
the only
no.
correct relative that he calls by name is Benjen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Benjen is his actual uncle.
Is the
All of his siblings are cousins. his dad was his uncle. His mom was his aunt by marriage.
Yeah.
Well, think about, by the way, like living with that like lie as Ned.
It's the
that makes Ned so fucking cool to me.
Yeah.
Well, and it also is another thing of like, yeah, like
he took it for years. Like everyone knew him
Everybody
as being
was dogging on his ass.
Well, yeah, everyone knew him for being like the best
honorable
guy.
Ned Stark,
and then
cheated on his wife.
it's like his one sin was like known to the world, and for the rest, like they'd just be like, oh, like even when he met with Robert, he was like, oh, what was that bitch you fucked? You know, the one who made you lose your honor, and he's like, Meredith.
He's like, I don't want to talk about her.
That
Yeah.
goes so hard because his honor was there the whole time and nobody could see it.
Well, and it also really
He
puts
never
it
failed at any point.
Ned Stark is the greatest. It also puts into perspective how fucked Robert Baratheon was.
Robert was fucking everybody that moved.
But like, think about like that man, because so they never specify it like in the show, and like they kind of don't in the books, but in the mountain kills Rhaegar's first like wife of Elia Martell,
Yeah.
Oberyn's sister.
Yes.
Yeah,
And her kids.
and her kids. Well, maybe. But
Her daughters, at least.
daughter for sure, son maybe. But the wife was killed. The two children were killed, and Robert Baratheon looks at the burnt, bloodied corpses of Aegon and Rhaenyra, the children, and says, "Well, two less dragon spawn, I guess." Just full on like, yo, fuck the Targaryens. He hates them all, and that's why.
Dude, in the books, is it true that Sansa looks a lot like Lyanna?
Yeah, so like,
Which is-
no. Oh, Arya. Arya is the dead ringer to Lyanna. Lyanna looks.
Really?
Lyanna is a Stark through and through. Sansa looks more like a Tully. In the books, in the books,
They do say that a couple times.
in the
but that would make sense. Which is why. That's what I meant to say.
Littlefinger's
That's what I
all
meant
about
to say is that she looks like a Tully, which is why Littlefinger.
Yep. So she looks like borderline like her mom.
Yeah,
Like,
which is
so
why
Littlefinger,
Littlefinger's got
Very
the hots for
creepily,
her.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's creepier in the books because like she like Littlefinger disguises
Is he,
her
like-
as Elaine Stone, his bastard daughter. So he's constantly like, you know, oh my sweet little, you know, whatever, blah blah, and all this stuff, and you're like, yeah, and you're just like, Oh, this is weird.
I thought you were gonna say that he was like jerking off into her panties.
Oh, stop! My God! Oh.
I mean, I wouldn't be shocked. Littlefinger's fucking weird. I hate him. He's the slimiest motherfucker in the whole show. I'd rather be stuck in a room with just like Cersei Lannister and Joffrey than him.
That would be a really interesting day.
I'd rather spend a day with Joffrey than Littlefinger. Because at least I can trust Joffrey. What he says, he thinks is true. I can't trust a fucking word that comes out of Littlefinger's mouth.
Did I show you the TikTok
Tommen one?
That the HBO like Nordic? It's their official TikTok channel put out. It was like, have you heard the sound? It was like she was like a fairy. Oh my gosh!
It's
creepy.
It's hilarious.
It's hilarious.
It's Tommen, and then it goes, he was like a fairy, and then it shows
The next
him
slide.
jumping out the window, and they like superimpose wings, like fairy wings on him.
That's the only thing I soft spoiled for BJ because he was like, "Does he kill himself?" And I was like, "What? Like, how would you have thought that?"
You could see it early with Tommen.
And I was like,
feel-
"He totally does."
I'm gonna be honest. I feel so bad for Marcella and Tommen.
Marcella more than anybody,
Well, yeah.
really, because she was just like a sweet person.
Yeah, she was like the sweetest girl. She got literally played in the Game of Thrones of like, all right, go marry off that, and she goes to, apparently, at least according to the books, again in Dorne, she was like great.
Yeah, the guy that she was with genuinely seemed to love her, and then when she's going back with Jaime, she's like, I'm happy that you're my dad. Like, I don't
Yeah.
care that it's wrong. You've always been good to me. And Jaime like has a really nice moment with her, and then she immediately dies.
Yeah, like oh boy.
I also said,
Oh no.
Is that Shireen?
Yeah.
I said that to you, but it was like weeks ago before we got to that, and I just said, "Bruh."
Yeah, no, dude, that was the line where I'm like, yo, fuck Stannis for real.
Yeah, dude, it was dope that Brienne like found him in the forest and was like, "Time to die, motherfucker."
He's
Oathkeeper for sure.
He is way more important in the books. Stannis, like, there's a point where it's like
he
Stannis
is the
gonna
right. Other than
I mean,
what's his name, Gendry.
well, technically, if you go by the thing there, Jon would have the rightful.
Yeah,
claim.
John's got more claim than he does.
Yeah, because
But
of-
nobody
Well, I'm
knows
saying
that.
if we're following the Baratheon,
Well, yeah, following Baratheon line, Stannis
line.
does. Well, I guess Gendry technically.
But if not Gendry, like
but if you don't count a bastard, it would be Stannis.
yeah, which they usually don't.
Which I guess technically now it wouldn't be Jon in the books; it'd be Aegon, if he's legitimately alive. He literally is.
Yeah, but we don't know.
Son. That's what I'm saying. We don't know. But if it is him, he has the rightful thing over Daenerys and Stannis and Jon. Which, let's be real, Jon does not want the fucking Iron Throne. Even if it came out, they're like, "Hey, you're the rightful heir." He's like, "Fuck that! Get me out of here."
That makes me want him to have it more.
I'd rather him be King of the North.
But if he could rule everything from the north.
She was a fairy.
No, I'd much rather Jon just King of the North shit.
Carmen tried to convince us of this Reddit theory that she read.
Oh boy.
She was like, "Did you guys know that the Children of the Forest actually killed Robert Baratheon?" And we were like, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
She
was like, "It was
boars.
a boar."
They killed. Yeah.
I was like, "Yeah, boars exist."
I fucking hate this.
Damn,
Just didn't open.
you're gonna have to tongue that shit out.
Tongue punch it.
Tongue punch.
Tongue punch that fart box.
I was gonna go snug love tunnel, but fart box is worse.
BJ, can you grab me a Drinkus?
No, whenever
Also, the grossest thing happened yesterday.
What do you want?
Any.
what
gross-
happened yesterday?
Well, BJ, we were going through these we have a sock pile that of socks that don't have a match. And so Carmen and I went through it because we're we have to throw away a bunch of socks and then find the matches, and this is just getting ridiculous. So I was going through, and in it was one of those yellow cleaning gloves,
Like a latex
the thick
rubber
ones,
glove.
so that you just see.
But it
it.
was just the one of them.
Yeah.
And so then BJ found it, and I was playing, and so he put it on his feet, and he was
And I stretched the fingers over my toes.
and then an hour later, I was like.
They're still sorting socks. Matt sees the glove on the table, picks it up, and goes. And me and Carmen were like, "Dude, My foot was in there, and then Matt goes, "Ugh."
Immediately starts gagging for like 30 seconds. I was like, oh my, I can't believe I forgot about that.
It was hilarious.
Ew.
Good times. Dude, did you hear that Lethal Company is now the highest ranked game above Baldur's Gate on Steam right now?
What the fuck?
We have to play Lethal.
That's that horror game, right? Yeah.
That looks hysterical. It looks like such a good time.
Yeah, I mean, did you also see it also because they were saying that like, oh, it's outselling Call of Duty's Modern Warfare 3, which
Not hard to do.
Yeah, that's
No.
not hard to do.
well, the big part was that like COD is like the #1 FPS thing in the world, and you're losing to an indie game like made by like what 2 people and a box of scraps, and they're doing better. And that game is more well made than your fucking $1 billion franchise.
Yeah, I think the Call of Duty wave is just ending.
I don't
In
think
a
it's
way.
ending. I think because Modern Warfare 2 did really well and had a lot of good buzz. I think the problem was that Modern Warfare 3 was originally supposed to be a DLC, and then instead they're like, no, fuck it, full game, $70 price point. And then it's like, oh yeah, by the way, you need to have Modern Warfare 2 to open Modern Warfare 3.
What the fuck?
So, yeah, because it was an expansion, and then they backtracked, and now, yeah, the next game's gonna be a Black Ops game, which that's gonna sell gangbusters just because
Of course,
it's
it's Black Ops.
Yeah.
It's just like I know.
I mean, I hope at least the zombies will be better than this one. This one's like
I've heard this
Warzone.
zombie is awful.
That's what I've seen.
Yeah.
It looks terrible.
Yeah,
I just hate that there's such a huge subset of people that only play Call of Duty.
That's the problem. It's the same with all the sports games. Like, there's nothing that's going to change with them because they have their fans who are going to buy it regardless. Who are going to spend outrageous amounts of money for microtransactions.
And I will
battle
say
passes
it's
and
a little
skins.
bit like Forza, where it's like it's the same game. Graphics are better.
I mean-
like the crowd AI is better this year.
I would
Each AI waves differently than each other.
I would still say that, like, hey, Forza though isn't annual because we haven't. Forza 6 was Xbox One, like before the One X. Horizon 4 was the One X. Like they're not yearly. They take time, and it's only 2 studios.
I mean,
You go
I've
Horizon,
raved
Motorsport,
about Forza
Yeah.
for a long time. So
But, like,
I'm just saying.
I definitely understand the vibe, but I think with Call of Duty, it's because they're like it has to be annualized. Like even fucking Assassin's Creed stopped doing that.
Well, I just hate when they like those games advertise about how good the crowd looks. When like the Phantom Menace, the crowd for the
Pod races.
the pod races is just Q-tips that have been painted, and they just jiggle them up and down. And
it looks incredible.
We've never. It looks
and we've
It looks
never like
better than
gone-
anything I've ever seen.
Yeah, they just did Q-tips and they just wiggled them.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, man. Call of Duty is weird because like it sucks because I do think like because the ideas they were putting for the story part, the campaign part in Modern Warfare 3 was really cool. Where it's like it is more open ended. Of like, because a lot of Call of Duty, you're expecting, all right, it's the shooter. You're just gonna run through, shoot the guy. That's it. Now they're making it where it's like, well, no, the goal is kill that guy, but he has an entire castle of running around, and now you have to figure out, well, how do I want to kill him? Where do I do it? It's like the open, like black box style of like Hitman games of like, get the guy dead. You get to decide how, not a scripted sequence of this. And they still have those because, like, I'm gonna be honest, Call of Duty has some stellar like scripted first-person action set pieces. Like in Call of Duty, in Black Ops, the first fucking Black Ops has some of those most insane moments. where
Black
it's like-
Ops 1 and 2 were good.
yeah, I love those 2 games. Like they're
3 had a
phenomenal.
great zombies. The multiplayer was
Pretty decent.
pretty. I mean, it was like the newer console. It was fine.
I think Black Ops 1 and 2 and then Modern Warfare 1, 2, and 3, the original, are like the peak of COD. Where
I did really get into the new Modern Warfare.
2019.
Yeah.
I did too. That's where I went. I remember.
I never touched Warzone. I just,
Warzone's actually pretty fun. I will give it that. But
I've just never gotten into it. Because what was the one their Battle Royale before Warzone?
the one for Black Ops 4,
Yes.
you had to buy Black Ops 4 though. Like it wasn't a free to play. You
Yeah.
had to pay for Black Ops 4. Yeah, I didn't play that one at all.
I played it like more than I played Warzone, which is odd. But
I will say Warzone I think is actually pretty solid, but that's again when it fucking works. Anytime there's a new update, wait a week and then they'll fix it, and then you can play it good.
I also wanted to bring up, I just remembered this 45 minutes in, and that's pretty indicative of my experience with it, but I started Death Stranding, and it's
I thought you said you're really liking it.
I mean, I love the story. The story, the cutscene, like the world is really, really
I
interesting.
agree. I love the 11-hour movie.
But the gameplay is so bad.
I wouldn't even say it's bad. It's just monotonous.
It's just nothing.
But it's like the problem is that that's the fucking point, and I
It-
hate it.
it-
Were you playing the director's cut?
Yeah.
Okay, I've heard that has more options.
I mean, they give you a bike pretty early on, but
Yeah.
that alleviates it a little bit because it's like less time to do stuff. But the biggest problem with it is like it just feels like I'm playing Metal Gear Ground Zeroes with no missions and nothing to do in the world.
Yeah, because I'm with you. I think the story's fucking great,
Yeah, it's incredible. I love
But-
Norman Reedus in it.
bro. I love
Guillermo del Toro.
Troy Baker so far
I was gonna
has
say
been.
Troy Baker isn't his character Cliff, or no? That's
It's it might
And
be
who plays
Cliff.
him? Is it America? No, who's the other chick?
The hot
Fragile
one.
or
Fragile, yeah.
Fragile. I'm.
She's the one who's in the full bodysuit because she got hit in
Yeah.
the rain. Yeah. She's really good. His sister, the president.
Yeah. Amelie.
Have you met Conan O'Brien yet?
No.
He's in the game.
He is.
Okay.
He's in one of those.
Well, because wasn't it because he's also tight with Guillermo del Toro?
Yeah. Well, I mean, Conan went to Kojima Productions because of Guillermo.
Dude, when I was like leaving the airport, because we flew into Vegas to meet my mom who was driving from Pasadena in Vegas. So me, Carmen, and my cousin Kara, we just found like a breakfast spot, and as we took an Uber there, I passed a Konami headquarters in Vegas, and BJ was saying,
I was like, that makes so much fucking sense. They only care about pachinko machines.
Yep.
And then I had to tell him like a couple years ago when they remade those Metal Gear Solid 3 cutscenes and they got leaked online and everybody was like, they're remaking it. Holy shit, they're making a game. And that turned out to just be for a pachinko machine.
Dude, I got that hit that once because someone was going, yo, there's some Devil May Cry cutscenes of Devil May Cry 3. Like, this is insane. Oh, they're remaking it. There's a Devil May Cry pachinko machine
Yep.
in Japan.
There's a Guilty Gear pachinko machine that is canon to the storyline of Guilty Gear.
Of course it fucking is. Guilty Gear is as, like, bad as Nier.
Yeah.
Like, Jesus Christ.
Except Nier makes way more sense.
Nier, I can play one game and understand the story of that game. Guilty Gear, I can play Strive all day and I still don't understand who half these fucking characters are.
Yeah.
Despite Strive having a story mode.
It's all about the vibes with Guilty Gear.
To be fair, yeah. Like that.
And then you play the story mode of Strive and it's like, you
bad.
know what's happening.
Well, also it's bad. Like,
yeah, it's
'cause-
like 9 hours of cutscenes.
Well, not even that. The cutscenes are badly animated because it's a different studio animating them. Nah, dude.
Dude, can I share a quick a story that's a legit story learned about? So a group of gay furry hackers
Oh, boy.
hacked into one of the nation's top nuclear labs, and they like pretty much like have demands about like, we have all this data, we've already hacked into it, if you don't meet our demands, like, I mean, we'll like leak stuff and
Yeah.
ruin your servers and shit. And their demands is that they start working on cat humanoid girls.
oh my fucking
This is
god.
100% real. Like, they posted an image that they're like essentially just gay furry hackers, and that they really want
They want
the lab
they
to
want-
start working on.
They want cat girls. They
100%.
want cat girls and boys to be
And
real.
when I watched this, I was like, this can't be real. And I looked it up, and I was like, oh my god, it's actually real.
Y'all see
You
that?
have the power to bend the U.S. at your will, and you ask for genetically modified cat girls. I want to be able to survive another month. Some cat girl pussy's not going to help me do that.
Nah, did you see the government leaks on the Minecraft Discord server called Thug Shaker Central?
Yeah.
That was fucking wild.
Speaking of also leaked, is apparently World of Tanks has like the
like
most.
Yeah.
Is it World of Tanks or is it that other or the plane one or fuck, what game is it?
I mean, they both have
War
a
Thunder.
lot of
Oh,
it.
it's War Thunder, yeah.
Yeah, War
Which
Thunder.
has tanks,
Airplanes
ships,
and
shit.
everything, yeah.
Because somebody will be like, they'll be like talking about in forums of like, oh, this is how the ship actually works, and they're like, fuck you. This is how the plane actually works. Because here's the
documents.
That's happened on World of Tanks too. Like you go to the forums and there's just full schematics for how a lot of those fucking tanks are built.
Dog, I was watching.
It's happened like 6 times.
I was watching a Russian Badger video where him and his buddies are playing a War Thunder, and he straight had to like pause his like shit post and go, "Okay, please, we're just playing this game. Do not, in the comments of this video, actually talk about secret classified documents on military machines. Dear God, please. We're just here to shitpost and have fun."
I just love that like some guy who's actually like has access to these documents is like willing to post them to prove
to prove a point in a fucking
video game.
hyper niche video game forum.
Well, also just the idea that like he's arguing with probably some neckbeard fuck who doesn't leave his bedroom.
Who's like one of those what are they called when they like wear uniforms? What it's like
stolen valor.
Yes. Like a stolen valor motherfucker.
You're assaulting a future U.S. Army soldier.
America.
So some kid being like, "Oh, I'm gonna join the army one day. I'm wearing my granddad's uniform right now. I'm gonna be just like him."
Have you seen the College Humor
By the
skit?
way, before we go any further, if you remember me from J. Rotzi, and I'm sure you might, I was one of the only fat kids. Fuck you. I hope you got what you deserved ultimately.
Why did you join JRTC?
Dude, you got like 6 credits for J. Rotzi.
Really?
Yeah, you didn't have to do gym. You didn't have to do like finance or government. And they just give you the textbooks for the tests. They didn't give a fuck in J. Rotzi.
But the only thing is,
the teachers didn't give a fuck. The kids thought that it was the fucking Navy SEALs.
Actually,
literally.
So you're speaking to the I expect a yes, sir.
What the fuck is that smell?
have you seen the College Humor skit where the guy was like, "Dude, I discovered a bunch of my like granddad's like
Wolfenstein merch."
Wolfenstein merch, and it's all
He's
just,
like, I could feel the evil coming from this box.
it's just all Nazi memorabilia.
He puts on the uniform.
Can you imagine some kid who like doesn't give a shit about like history class, whatever, finds like an actual Nazi uniform, and it's like, "Yo, Dad, when did Granddad get into cosplay?" It's like, was he one of those like war reenactors? And his dad's like, yeah, that's what
dude,
Granddad
Barty
did.
Crouch is so close to looking like Hitler.
Yeah, Barty Crouch Sr.
Senior. Okay, I was about to say David Tennant, but
No.
okay, yeah.
Which
senior.
I was saying, as I'm really sad
have y'all got
that he
through
didn't
4?
have a better role as like the kind teacher that is the dark arts teacher.
I would have been okay with him being Lupin, honestly.
Because David Tennant's best thing is he's like the kindest person and has the kindest eyes. He's like the best. I mean, I think he's the best doctor for sure. We had this discussion last
100%.
night. So
to be fair, I haven't like sat down and watched the whole season of Doctor Who, but of the episodes that I've seen, it's either him or
Matt Smith are definitely the biggest two.
one of those.
But
two.
just
I don't want to say the old guy.
well, there's like two different aspects of the Doctor.
Peter Capaldi.
Yeah.
Well, there's
he
two
seems
different aspects of the Doctor, which is like one of them is he's like seen everything and he just has like empathy for the world, and then there's the kookiness of being the Doctor. Matt Smith is kooky for sure, and he nails that as being fun.
He's also
David Tennant rides the line between those two, though.
But David Tennant is just like the kindest, most empathetic. Like him and what's the blonde chick who plays Nebula?
Karen Gillan.
Karen, yeah. Like their relationship is so fucking sad.
Nebula in
Guardians.
Oh, then Karen Gillan.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah.
Is she in Doctor Who? Oh, I'm crazy.
She's the biggest companion for David Tennant.
Yeah, like I said,
and then
I barely watched any.
When the fucking end of that is like they're against the Weeping Angels, and her like husband, who she's like the whole time you're like she should leave her husband because she definitely's got the hots, and then Karen Gillan's like, Rory's my husband, and he gets turned into a weeping angel, and then she was like, I have to be with him, even if it means being stuck in for eternity as an angel. I have to be with him, and he fucking's crying. Oh, it's so sad. And then
I have had this thing, and again, maybe if I watch Doctor Who, I'll think differently of it. But I've always kind of felt that the Doctor kind of has to be above, like I feel like he needs to be this like almost being compared to his companions, where like they're all normal people.
David Tennant had Rose too.
Yeah,
which is fucking so sad.
Rose Tyler is the best companion in Doctor Who.
Well, wait, was it Matt Smith that had Karen Gillan?
Yeah,
not David Tennant.
Right.
Oh, then I mixed that up. So,
but
that's that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to. Are those two the ones that happened back to back? Like, was it Matt Smith first or David Tennant first?
David Tennant first, and he had
dedicated Wham first,
and he had Rose, and then the African American.
But
chick,
Rose started with 9 Eccleston,
yeah,
and then rolled over.
There's
into 10.
the African American chick who I thought she was okay.
She was a good companion, but the problem is the Doctor's still obsessed with Rose.
Then who's the other chick that? I'm gonna just look it up right now.
I also not a lot of people talk about this because I think he's only in the one movie, but they did a reunion special where it's David Tennant, Matt Smith,
Capaldi.
Martha Jones. Is her
Isn't
name.
Capaldi in there?
No, Capaldi wasn't in this one.
Okay.
It was another Doctor that had never been mentioned before. That was his transformation during the time of the Time Lord War. So they just call him the War Doctor.
Did you like Donna Noble? Is the redhead chick that looked like her?
Yeah.
Did you like her?
I liked her as a companion. I like her in pretty much everything she's in.
I want to get into Doctor Who. It was one of those things where I'm like, where the fuck do I start?
Just start with 9.
Yeah,
honestly,
and that's
like
Tennant?
because that's when they revived it, was with Christopher Eccleston. He's only there for like 2 seasons, and then they get into David Tennant, and that's
that was there was like probably like a long period where they didn't do any Doctor Who shit, and
Yeah.
they're like, all right, fuck it here, because it was how long has Doctor Who been a thing? It's like one of the biggest like
since
British
like
IPs,
the
right? 70s, 80s.
earlier than that, I think
Really?
the 60s,
Really?
because it started in black and white, and a lot of that stuff doesn't exist anymore because a lot of the tapes got burned in a studio fire. But
So there's like no way to physically watch some of Doctor Who's
yeah,
stuff?
some of the older stuff you can't really watch. One of the interesting things about that, though, the 3rd or 4th Doctor is actually David Tennant's father-in-law now, and he comes back in that same special.
Did you ever watch the show with David Tennant and she was? Remember you saw Hot Fuzz, right? Mm-hmm. You remember the female horny cop in Hot Fuzz, who's always okay? Her and David Tennant were in a show.
It was a
called,
detective thing, right?
That show wrecked. If you want a show that will wreck you, it has amazing acting. I can't spoil it because if you watch, I need to find the name of the show. It is a brutal show. It's the detective after a child murder, and it's like, it is brutal.
I've never like sat down and like really watched a lot of their stuff, but like the BBC like network has put out like Merlin. You had the In-Betweeners.
Merlin is
Doctor
like the
Who.
unsung hero. Like that was the
I love Merlin. I think it's great. It's also one of the first times that I've dealt with Tumblr fandom ever in my life, because I'm like, oh, this show's really good. I like this. And then immediately I'm like, it's just all I saw was just Merlin and Arthur need to fuck.
We talked about Sherlock, didn't we?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's another good one. One that started with them was Last Kingdom, which I think I talked about on this podcast. But
Yes.
Oh,
that's-
Broadchurch. Sorry,
Broadchurch, yes.
is
I've heard great things about
it's so there's also this beautiful. So there's like the so in America they have the AFI Awards called the American Film Institute Awards, and I'm not sure if it's every year or how often it is, but they from time to time will give an award that's saying like, hey, this is like an American Film Institute Lifetime Award for all the things that somebody has done. When I was a kid in middle school, I had a friend, I'll shout him out, Peter Ryan. He's the guy who got me into Green Day, which I like thank him for. I made a lot of like home movies with him and his little brother Quincy.
I hope I can find those someday.
I have clips from it. I'll show you on those hard drives that I found, but it was just like impossible to transfer files. But if I can get them off on like a actual decent hard drive, I might just drop it off at a computer repair shop, being like, hey, just give me these on like a modern hard drive. Thank you. And but his dad did like set design for stuff, and he did the AFI Awards, and we got to go, and so we dressed up in nice suits and got to watch the AFI Awards, where I got to see like Bill Clinton, Robert Downey Jr., who was fucked
up at the time.
Yeah, before, and he was fucked up at the awards ceremony and drunk as fuck, and he like kept on yelling things, and people were like, it was crazy. But it was for Warren Beatty, who was like a big time actor in like the 70s and 80s, and he did like a bunch of stuff. But anyways, so in Britain they have the same AFI awards, but it's for British cinema, and they did a whole like tribute because they had like
Tennant, right?
for David Tennant, and it tears me up every time I watch it.
I've seen it because like David Tennant was like borderline just bawling.
Oh
at the end of
yeah,
it. Like,
yeah, it is the sweetest.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, he's the most amazing human being, an actor of all time. He made us feel things we never like thought we could feel. Like even right now, I'm like, oh my
it's
god,
legitimately one of the sweetest things.
it's so good.
Like you're watching like, damn, I'm crying, but I'm happy. Like it's such a good video.
Damn, I'll have to look that up.
Donna, the and Rose both speak in it, and he's like, because the same thing. They have like the camera of the thing
What's
they're
happening?
showing, and then of him, and he's like, and you're like, oh my god.
Like he like every time he sees someone, it gets worse because he'll be like he's finally composed himself. Someone new shows up, he goes, like he'll like go over and like start crying more.
It's so good.
It's such a great video.
yeah, love him, but I mean, so we saw him in Barty Crouch Jr. So
That was another
big
thing.
circle.
I that is one of my biggest gripes of the Harry Potter storytelling. Which again, you can tell J.K. Rowling did not plan shit because
I got so angry
About the time turners.
and the Dementors.
Yeah.
So I'll get to the time thing in a bit.
Yeah, for sure.
The biggest one in the next movie, right? There. So we've all
Order
seen
of
Harry
the
Potter.
Phoenix.
Well, we've all seen the movies, right? When Moody actually like dies, I remember like just feeling like I don't know who that is. I didn't spend an entire movie with that guy. I spent an entire movie with the Nazi assassin with the
Wait, who's the
polyjuice
Nazi?
potion.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
Jr.
I'm like I spent time with Barty Crouch Jr. I don't know who this fuck is. They're just like, hey, look, it's Moody, and I'm like, I don't know who he is.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know if he's actually like that or if that was all Crouch or if Moody's
Because
different.
you do find him lovable and how much he helps Harry, and you're like, oh, this guy's like dope because he's
and then
helping
it's like,
Harry.
oh no, he's an asshole.
Yeah, he's just trying to get him to
he's
win.
trying to get him to die or win. Yeah,
Win to die.
Win to die. But then like, it's stupid because you're like, wait, why? Okay, whatever. And then yeah, the time travel thing, the actual like time turner. All she needed to do was say, "Can only go back 24 hours."
But but like
That's all she
the
needed.
explanation for how they're never used again is the worst thing.
Yeah.
Like that, like, because I was saying, like, is there like an Ombu Black Ops of wizards and witches? Witches, what are they called?
The auras.
The auras.
And I was like, and they never do anything.
And I was like, because that would be like the main thing they use is like, oh shit, shit's like go
Shit
like
popped off. We need to go back in time and stop it before it happens.
yeah, which would be a dope as
That
fuck
would be a
series.
hell of a story.
A series that's just like it could be a TV series where each episode or like it could be hour-long episodes where each one they're like going back in time, we prevent this.
Because then it would basically just be Doctor Who with wizards.
Yes!
That sounds tight as fuck.
Yes.
Well, the problem with the time turner is like you did it, and the actual moment is cool as shit. Like when you see Harry's like I saw my dad. Like that was my like, and then he goes over. He's like, my dad will show me. He's like,
You're like,
and
no,
you
Harry,
kinda-
your dad's dead.
It's like you realize like, okay, Harry, like that's Harry coming to terms with himself, like using Expecto Patronum. The moment's amazing. Like the actual third movie is probably one of my favorites. But like yeah, the explanation for the time turner, all she had to do was say, it's very unstable, but it's only 24 hours. Like if you would have said it's a 24-hour use and then the time turner breaks.
Or like you have to like
like-
use it in like
yeah.
an area that you can't
Yeah.
travel. Like there's like a time warp.
You can
bubble.
only go like
So
within
far.
like a couple miles of where you
yeah,
actually
like a
were.
time warp bubble.
Like and it would make sense for Hermione just used it because the grounds of Hogwarts count. Like that she could just run around in Hogwarts, go do all these classes, whatever, cool. And then when she
Or like
uses it
there's
finally-
a bigger spell that you have to cast that surrounds an area, and you can only go back in the area like
yeah.
shit like that.
There's so many ways she could, because the problem was that was instead of like, because people clowned on her for that for years. I'm pretty sure that's the reason why she made the cursed child.
Well, like
Was because people were like, why didn't you just go back in time and kill Voldemort. And then she's like, well, fine. This is what happens when we do that. And it goes bad. So, And that was the whole curse.
There's a lot of
cursed child was.
Also, Hermione's black. Fuck you.
There's a bunch of other like things from like just being on TikTok and like nerd talk that there's a bunch of books out there that really well have like a science behind the magic, which is dope. If you like, I mean, that's one of my favorite parts of Dune is they explain each and everything. It's like they don't use computers because AI fucked them over. They have these shields that make bullets dumb, and so everyone fights with swords. I'm like, they explain everything, so everything. I'm like,
that's why D&D is so fucking tight, is because you can put a pin in every magical thing that you can do.
Yeah, there's sciences to everything, and so there's like books that like.
It's why I want to get into Brandon Sanderson novels.
Way of Kings, I would love.
I'm probably I want to get that because I've been
Way of Kings. I've heard is like the best fantasy novel of all time.
I've heard it's the best in terms of series because Stormlight Archive I think is right now 4 books. Everybody who I know who's read it says Oathbreaker or the
is that
one.
in the Way of Kings?
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
it's the Stormlight Archive.
Oh, Stormlight Way of Kings is the first one.
And then the third.
He's also pretty young, which is cool.
He apparently his output for books is insane because he finished
unlike
George R.
Well, no, Brandon Sanderson.
Stoopy head.
Brandon Sanderson
George R.
put
R.
out.
Rowling.
Brandon Sanderson put out the final 3 Wheel of Time books because the author died. He had the manuscripts of like what's gonna happen and how to do it, and then they told Brandon like you get to write the last 3 or the last book, and Brandon then said fuck it, this is a lot of content, I'm doing 3 books out of it, and made the last 3
Hell
books.
yeah, I love when they're like, let's give this the like.
Speaking of which, I've been meaning to ask you about this. Did you see the Lord of the Rings sequel that he was working on that got leaked?
You mean the one
Brandon
that is
Sanderson or Tolkien?
Tolkien, the one that his son like had to finish?
No, the one that his son found the notes for that was like hundreds and hundreds of years after
Fellowship or after Return of the King.
Yeah.
No, because I know that I mean, his son played a large part in like all the stuff after, like even when it came to like, I mean, just like little stuff that were like they would come up with like the movies. His son had like his son had done a lot of stuff to like had a lot of involvement in ever since his death.
What was the? I could be wrong in reading this, and you might know more than I. So Rings of Power, the show,
It's dumb.
Well, it's terrible, but isn't one of the reasons why it's so bad is because they technically don't have the rights to the Silmarillion?
100%.
Yeah.
They didn't have. He didn't give the rights for them for shit, and they're like, okay, we'll write it. I'm sorry.
Well, because I was gonna say, because I know technically the film rights for Lord of the Rings they got, but they didn't have the rights to use the Silmarillion. Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. So they have the. Yeah.
So they had to do their own take on it, which isn't it just like they were like, well, here's the character, but like we can't.
Celebrimbor's a fag.
Yeah, like we can't do like anything. That's,
even
like,
though
true
the
to
games
story.
like nailed Celebrimbor way better.
Celebrimbor so fucking hard in Shadow of Mordor.
Bro, the only thing in the games is making the spider.
Sheila like a sexy lady.
Really sexy. Which, hey, I'm not complaining, but also
wait, you're one of those
Hey,
hackers.
hey man, look, I'm not. I'm
Make
cool.
us cat women now.
Look, bro. Anytime she wants to come at me with that really cool body when she's a spider, I'm not into it. But hey, big titties hanging
Also,
out and like
we were talking about how what's the guy who has the cat in Harry
Oh,
Potter?
Filch.
Filch was filming.
Yeah, because we looked it up, and Harry Potter, the last one was in 2011.
Mm-hmm.
So there was definitely some overlap where he was Walder Frey and Filch. And it looks like he just walked between sets.
He has the same long hair, practically the same clothes.
Well, was he Walder Frey in season 1?
I think it's
Would they have been season 1?
I think it starts in season 2.
So then, yeah, he probably would have literally like finished filming that and went right to the set of Game of Thrones and started filming the Walder Frey.
No, I think it's season 3 that the war begins. The war between Robb and the Lannisters.
Because season it starts in.
No, it might be season 2 because it ends with Ned's
dies.
dead. Yeah,
Ned dies, and then Rob's on that shit immediately.
Rob is like immediately like,
like,
hey, yo, call the banners.
We're fucking
We
going
to
now.
war.
Also,
Lyanna
Leanne,
Mormont. best
goat.
fucking character.
Dude, even I loved. So she's talking with like Arya, and they're like, Arya and Sansa are talking.
Oh, that was so good. That was so good.
So they're talking. It's that whole thing where it's like, oh, let's play the game of faces. And anyway, she's like, she finds Littlefinger places the note that she sends when she's in King's Landing back to Robb about like, you need to surrender. Like it would be like would be really good if you surrender.
Swear fealty to Lord Joffrey.
Isn't that the one that Joffrey pretty much made her right, or like
That the Queen made her
the
right.
Queen, yeah,
But
right.
Arya finds that, and then she corners Sansa in her room, and she's like, "You're a little pussy." And then
And she's like, I was just a kid.
And then she's like, "You want to go tell that to Lyanna Mormont, the one that fucking gathered all these men under?" I was like, "Damn!"
Oh shit.
It's honestly, I'm gonna be honest. I think Sansa was wasted on the Ramsay storyline because I feel like she could have been way cooler if she like legitimately learned from Peter Baelish of like how to play the Game of Thrones and have her be like the political, almost say like mirror of Cersei.
I would have loved that.
I would have loved that more instead of Littlefinger going, "Hey, Ramsay Snow,
I'll tell you this,
want this
though.
hot redhead."
You want the person who knows how to play the Game of Thrones, without spoiling. This is barely a spoiler, which is Arya knows how to play the Game of Thrones. Some shit's about to pop off that you're like, oh shit, she's been playing everybody this whole time.
I already know Arya's got this shit on lock.
Yeah,
I'm not scared of what's gonna happen to Winterfell because Arya's there right now.
yeah,
Arya,
for sure.
Arya's
solo everybody.
Arya's probably like the one like it's way more fucked up in the book. I'm gonna keep saying that anytime we talk about Game of Thrones just because I finished the 4th book.
How many more do you have to go?
1.
Oh, okay.
There's 5 out of the planned 7 or 8.
God damn it!
Never gonna happen.
The dude's like 80 and overweight.
Does he have understudies?
No,
That's dumb.
he writes his
fucked.
own shit, and he's.
I
Apparently,
bet there's gonna be like when he dies, like sloths of women that are like when he was, banging me. He told me that this was gonna.
Told me that this was gonna happen.
I wouldn't be shocked.
Droves of women just.
Well, he definitely has plans for it. I wouldn't be sure because whenever the.
Yeah, but if you don't tell anybody the plans, then it's all fucked.
All I'm saying is like the manuscripts, because the same thing with the Wheel of Time author. He had like a manuscript that pretty much was like, this is how it's gonna end. This is where I have plans. These are plot points I'm hitting, and then they gave it to Brandon Sanderson to finish. And so he just used that. He read all the books, used the manuscripts, and finished the last 3.
I think
I could assume it'd be the same thing.
He needs to take a page out of fucking Miora's book and get a team of people that he can tell everything that he has planned to.
The Jon Snow parentage thing, that was like only hinted at before, and like even still in the books has never been confirmed.
The what?
And Jon Snow stuff.
About his
parents.
Mom and dad.
Oh shit!
That's not, that,
but didn't you say because
in the books it's never been mentioned?
But
it's hinted at, but it's not. Well, I'm gonna say another thing. Well, I can't say because of spoilers technically. Fuck. Well, I mean it's his name. Fuck.
Snow.
No, the name he would have had if he would have been born. Whatever.
Okay.
Because it's stupid. In the show, oh no, we'll get there when you get to season 8. But
we're working hard. We've been watching shit. Yeah.
Working hard to please you.
But like that's the thing is that parentage,
corner office.
that whole parentage thing still hasn't been revealed in the books, and yet the showrunners of Game of Thrones guessed it. That's why they got the rights to the show. Because they had like lunch or dinner with George R. R. Martin, and they're like they pitched the show to him. They said we want to make it as faithful as we can.
They were gonna have lunch, and then George R. R. Martin was like, "Don't worry, the pizzas are coming."
They're waiting there for like hours, just like
Fuck.
But
It's gonna be amazing.
It's gonna be amazing.
But I think this is before Dance of Dragons had come out, so before the death. But they had guessed they full on like he asked them the question of like, well apparently he asked them who John's mom is, and they guessed that well the mom is Lyanna and the dad is not Ned, and he was like, you guys can make the show, because they actually guessed it correctly. Because yeah, like you were saying, is like because last week you had said that like they're teasing like like it's all signs point to this, right? Because why are they leave like especially with Bran seeing his dad at the tower, all this stuff's like why does this matter? What's the point? And then but like it's the same thing where like they guessed it and that's why they got the show. So like he has ideas. That's been a thing since I'm assuming the beginning. Is that's who Jon Snow's parents are, and then he has to figure it. Like he's just got to figure it now. I don't know how he's gonna put it out there because Jon's dead. But which I mean, to be fair, Stannis is around and so is the Red Woman. So I mean, yeah. Those pizzas are gonna be fucking amazing.
Oh man.
Oh, no,
Also, this is going way back now, but I think it's really interesting that Davos has canonically read House of the Dragon.
oh
no, it's the
Fire
Dance
and
of
Blood?
no, yeah, or is it Dances of Fire?
Fire and Blood is the Targaryen. Like,
Yes, yeah, then,
history.
yeah, he's read
Yeah.
that, yeah.
Yeah, and the Dance of Dragon. The Dance of Dragons is a thing that happened in Game of Thrones, but that's the name of the 5th book.
Did you watch?
I've not watched House of Dragons yet.
Okay.
I've watched. No, actually, that's a lie. I have seen some because I know about Aemond One Eye, which is my favorite character of that whole fucking show, despite him having very little screen time. Aemond One Eye is my favorite.
I think
Only
just with how much I feel like BJ and I have agreed on stuff about how we felt about the show, you won't like it as much as the original stuff. So
I think he'll like it more from a lore perspective though, because of how much they really delve into Westerosi politics and like the Targaryen lines and all this other crazy shit. But that's about it.
But in the end, it's like it's one family. It doesn't fucking matter. The real story is like John and the boys.
John and the
Well,
Boys.
yeah, to be fair,
That's the only storyline I care about.
House of the Dragon.
The next 2 books should just be called John, and then the next one could be called And the Boys.
I think the next one is Winds of Winter because
The Winds of Winter.
Speaking of that, we still like that's another thing that the books still haven't told us is what the fuck the White Walkers are.
Zambies.
No, I mean like the fucking Night King and all that.
As soon as I saw the Night King, I looked at Matt and I was like, all right, who is he? And he was like, what do you mean? He's the Night King. He's like the leader of the zombies. And I was like, yeah, but what family did he come from?
So that's the thing. And like the explanation they show in the show where it's like, oh, the fucking Fae or whatever.
No, the Children of the Forest.
Yeah, Children of the Forest created them. That's not canon in the books. We don't know still how they came about. Like that's not a thing in the. Which I think this is my theory. I think that might be how they actually are created. That's one of those future plot points that George R. R. Martin told them. Mm-hmm. Because another thing that I know for a fact,
I would if I was HBO, I'd be like, we'll give you $50 million just to finish a book.
well, the problem is that HBO doesn't have the book rights. That's the
Yeah,
thing.
They don't need the book rights. They just pay him the money to
Give
make
him
the book.
a fucking paycheck.
Well, I
Buy him
would-
3 houses across the world.
He's got 500 more words to write. According to
That's
him.
fucking nothing. I could do that.
Well, apparently he has a problem because him and Stephen King were talking, and George R. R. Martin just straight up said like, how can you write books so fast?
Cocaine.
Uh,
That's Stephen
Adderall.
King's answer.
But the answer that was more interesting is when George pretty much said his reason why he doesn't is because he's like the amount of he's like I think I made Game of Thrones a bit too complicated with the amount of politics and world
That's
events
the best
and
part.
Well, no, but no, it's the best part until you realize when you have to write all of that. He has to keep calling back to old stuff. He has to make sure he doesn't count.
That's why he needs a
That's
fucking
why
team.
he needs a team.
Yeah.
Thank you. He needs to just have
He needs a team.
Kentaro
but
Miura.
Then
Thank you.
his biggest thing is that he always will write like the death of Jon Snow. Apparently, was something that he was like. He almost didn't like write it. He was like fully ready to just be like, no, I'm not doing that because he like
You know, it would
he
be
was
tight.
he was so like he has like the worst like anxiety and like self-deprecating like I'm not a good writer. I'm awful at
it's
this.
just-
I hate this. Like I can't do this. You know, like
And it's hard because
Yeah.
the fucking I mean it's obvious, but I just said it like 3 minutes ago. Fucking Jon Snow and the Boys is I could watch.
Yeah, I told Luke this on the way to the store, but I was like, that episode where it's just the boys walking through the snow and they're each having different conversations with each other. I could watch a whole season
That's
of that.
it's and I don't know. I don't want to get into like dumb shit. You know, I've had like 4 beers. Like it as a dude, I just fucking love that. It's so it does represent just dudes being guys, being with each other.
Guys being dudes.
And I love
Dudes
it.
being
I love
guys.
it so much, and the fucking Jon Snow being so much like Ned, not because he's his son, but because he was raised by the most honorable man in all of Westeros. Like, it's just good. And the Hound being like the most misunderstood guy, having Tormund, who's also misunderstood because he was a wildling, but then he like just threw like, you know, because Tormund's like the only reason he supports Jon is because Jon like stuck his neck out, and he's like, I respect you, and also I'm amazing.
I respect you. Also, I'm like I like the
And then
idea.
Do you
Sir
have
Dav-
an in with that really tall woman?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then
he's
Sir
like, John,
Davos-
you have to let. Hey, I hear she's the knight to your sister, right?
Yeah.
You put in a good word
You
for me,
could
right?
tell your sister to order her to fuck me.
And then Sir Davos being like
Sir Davos is the
starting
ni-
it from in Flea Bottom in King's Landing to being like a smuggler, and then like being like, oh,
The Onion Knight.
he is just amazing. It's just all these people are so good.
Sir Davos is probably one of my favorite characters in that whole show.
100%. And
Yeah.
he's, if I was saying he's the best hand. 100%
Yep.
out of any, like Tyrion, like, I mean, Ned was a good hand, but you know, what's done is done.
Have you guys started to see that in season 7? How Tyrion is now just an idiot.
He's not an idiot.
He's not an idiot. He,
He
has
just
good
doesn't work
ideas.
well. He just doesn't work well with Daenerys.
Well, no, you'll see it especially in season. I guess like one of the first few episodes of season 8. There's ideas he makes, and even Peter Dinklage in interviews was like, "Yeah, smartest guy in the room." Didn't
I
think
did
this through,"
see
or some shit like that.
One of the only things I'd seen before actually watching the show was an interview with Peter Dinklage where he's talking about somebody sends a bunch of people down into a crypt, and that's a really fucking bad idea.
Tyrion does.
Okay.
Tyrion's
Wait,
idea.
what are you talking about?
Peter Dinklage was pretty much making fun of the writing of season 8 by going like, "Oh yeah, Tyrion's idea to send everybody underground in the crypts with all the dead people, you know, where they can raise the dead and shit. Yeah, to keep everybody safe. Brilliant idea, but you know, I guess he was a little drunk. I guess. Like, yeah, pretty much being like, yeah, at some point,
and also, like, Tyrion's a functioning alcoholic.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, I think once you get to season 8, that's where the
A
writing
thriving alcoholic, I should say. Not just functioning.
Season 8 is where it aggressively the writing becomes the worst it's ever been. And like, because season 7 I have problems with, but like all in all I still think is enjoyable. Season 8 I have a hard time enjoying much.
We'll see, because the way that I enjoy things, I tend to view everything as a whole instead
No,
of
I think I talked a lot of shit about Game of Thrones, like it's all bad, it's not worth it. I take those words back completely. But like, because I think
Thank
yeah,
God.
because I think as a whole, yeah, Game of Thrones is still one of the best fantasy series.
5, 6, and 7 are the best seasons.
every episode felt like in game to me.
For me, the best.
Oh, I
Like,
can't wait for
the best season has been 4. Like I don't know,
4.
Red Wedding. Like everything leading up to that, having that, and then it's just like I don't know. And then because I think
5, we get the closure of the Red Wedding. We get John finally being like the Knight Commander.
Dude, no,
like,
John,
the Lord Commander.
John beheading Slint was great. I remember when that happened.
Oh,
Yeah.
the royal
the guy
Gold
from King's
Cloaks.
Landing, yeah.
I love that. He was like,
because immediately he's like, I'm not doing it, and then John immediately
"What's
just
the little
quiets.
boy? Ollie,
Ollie.
get my sword."
Ollie,
I
get
was
my
like,
sword.
"Let's go!"
Well, no, what I love about that is it's a callback to Ned being like, "You do it yourself."
Yeah,
Of like you,
because that's the first.
It's the
that's the
first
the
fucking thing.
first episode.
Yeah.
is he beheads.
He beheads the deserter.
the deserter from the Night's Watch, and he's like, "I saw the White Walkers." He's like, "Well, you might have, but you still deserted."
I love that, and because that's the thing that Ned brings to John. In the books, it's aggressive because in the books, they're gonna hang him, and then John says, "No, wait, stop." And then Janos Slint's like, "See, he's got no balls. He ain't gonna do it." And then that's when he goes, "Give me my sword."
But I
And
love
it's
in the
fucking-
show where everyone leaves, and he's like him and Ollie, because Ollie's his what is
His
it
page or whatever,
or his
like
squire,
squire.
and he finishes
He
his
finishes
drink,
the drink,
and then he walks out.
dude.
He's like,
It's such a great
"Okay,
moment.
let's do this shit."
It's such a great moment. Also, John
Fuck Ollie though.
Oh fuck off.
yeah, I'm glad he's dead.
Well, fuck most of those
Fuck that kid.
people in the Night's Watch who betrayed them.
I wish they didn't hang. I wish John like stabbed each of them like a bunch of times individually. How does that feel?
There's something so like
Make them stab each other.
there's something so cathartic though, where John's just like, because to me it also shows like how he's like better than them.
Dude, you know what I would have
He
done?
still gave them like the execution instead of just like
What I would have done if because this is me, like if somebody hurt anybody I loved, I'd do the thing where it's like I fucking cut off their arm, cinch it down, keep them alive, then cut off. Like that's the fucking.
Well, that's what
But
I
what
said
I would
when
do
we were
if I was
watching that
John is I
episode.
would be like, all right, we're having a battle royale. Everyone gets a sword, and you got to kill each other's
Where we
brother.
dropping
And
boys?
whoever wins, I cut their head off.
My
so,
idea
so you know how it feels to kill your sworn brothers.
was cut their legs off and then drop them a mile north of the wall, and if they get back in, then you kill them.
Have you guys seen Wind River?
Wind River.
Okay, we're watching that tonight.
Okay.
It has to do with it's with Jeremy Renner and Scarlet Witch.
I think I've heard about it.
It's incredible.
Okay.
We're watching that tonight. This is holy shit.
I think I was telling BJ this too on the ride to the store, where I'm like, season 6, the show aggressively becomes Jon Snow's the main character.
I was like, yes, okay, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, like in like the first few seasons, and even in the books, it's still like multiple point of views. You have all these different characters around
for
Westeros,
sure.
and that's not changing with the next one because we already know who the POV characters are going to be for the next one.
Yeah.
John's not one of them because he's dead. But you know who is one?
Davos.
The Red Woman. She gets POVs in the next.
I mean,
trailer.
I
so I would
would
be
love-
shocked if that's
Hey,
how.
I'd be okay watching a red woman POV.
Since she came on screen, like I was telling BJ, like she is so important. Like for one thing only.
And I bet you when he's telling you this, you're probably like, oh, it's to birth the demon baby to kill Renly, right? And then she keeps showing up, and you're like,
Why is this bitch still
Yeah, what's
here?
And
this-
then
Still
she
here.
fucking kills Stannis' daughter, and I'm like, I hate this woman.
and then she brings
I was
John
like,
back,
hold on.
and you're like,
Wait.
she brings John back, and you're like, well, I don't hate her completely.
What I want to happen in the books, I want the Children of the Forest to bring back Jon so that he can basically be his uncle and just be a Castlevania character.
Benj is just basically Batman.
Yeah.
I think they're gonna have the Red Woman.
And we saw
back.
the Titanic moment where Benjen comes in, rescues John,
Puts him on the horse and doesn't get back on the horse.
He's like, and we were both like, that's fucking Titanic. There's room for both of them.
I'll never let go, Jack. I'll never let go, Benjen.
And
Let go, John.
It's even more fucked up because John's like, Uncle Benjen, what the fuck? And Uncle Benjen's like, get on the horse. And then he's like, I'm going to die here and not give you an explanation.
Even though I look like half zombified.
He looks so fucking cool.
He had the fucking flaming mace and was just...
It's literally the vampire killer from Castlevania.
Man, I'm gonna be honest. I know it doesn't work with Game of Thrones. I wanted all of the Starks to see Jon where he is now. Like, imagine seeing Ned, Caitlyn, and Robb.
He would
seeing
fucking
him.
sob. He would be so proud.
Well, like I also
I'm also glad
I
that-
just want to see Caitlyn eat her words on like, oh yeah, see this bastard who you said was like nothing. Look at him now.
King of the North.
Yeah,
I'd also
like,
be really
straight-
excited to see Ned be super disappointed with Rob. For not keeping his word with Walder Frey.
Dude, yeah,
Great
no,
job, son.
The Walder Frey thing, it sucks because like because when watching the show at first,
He'd be
you're
so
kinda,
proud of Arya, though.
I don't.
When Arya tells that story of like, and then like
She was shooting the arrow at the target, and nobody was in
after
the
like
courtyard.
20 minutes, she finally hit a bullseye, and then
And all she hears is,
Well, that's the thing is, I feel like I don't know. He'd definitely be proud that she survived. He probably wouldn't be too cool of her being an assassin, just because that's not honorable.
I mean, she's only killed bad people.
I'm not saying it's not like she's not done the good thing, but I feel like Ned would have been like, the Faceless Man, really? Like,
I also
come
love
on.
it
like
when they're playing the game of faces, and she's like, also the Hound. I wanted him dead, and she hits him. It's like, that's not true.
That's a lie.
And she's like, you're right. I do love him.
I don't think Ned would be disappointed in her.
It's not just
because the only way that he was able to survive as long as he did was because his buddy snuck up behind Rhaegar and stabbed him in the head.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's Rhaegar, Dane, right? The other swordsman.
I don't know, the one that was holding Liana.
Yeah, I was gonna say, that's Arthur Dane, right?
Yeah, who
Yeah.
had 2 swords.
By the way,
That was a dope fight.
The
That was
only
awesome.
guy apparently in Westeros who like was ambidextrous in that format.
We were watching that, and I was like, "This is the best sword fight in like
Because
fantasy
he's the
history.
only.
We
He's like
have
the
we
only
talked
sword
about
fighter.
how amazing the Battle of the Bastards was.
Oh fuck! Yeah, let's talk about
Holy
that.
The
shit!
cinematography went from
Dude,
like
no,
here through the fucking roof.
Nothing
It
gives
is-
me chills more where it's the scene of Jon holding the sword and it's just the fucking thing and immediately just horses and like everything. It's just chaos.
The
It
thing
is-
that got me,
It's like a one-shot
Well,
fight
I was
scene.
telling you, it was like it's so obvious, like it's clearly obvious that it's a different director for that shit. Like you see all these shots that you've never
John's
seen
being
in the
crushed,
show,
and it's like you can see
before.
one little bit of light on his eye. Incredible cinematography. But the part that really got me was seeing John like finally stand up. Him, the giant, and Tormund just running for the gate. I was like, yes, let's go.
And then how he fucking does Ramsay in with the dogs, and he's like, "You said yourself they haven't been fed in a week," and he's like, "They wouldn't harm me."
and then it's just like
And he bites his jaw. Oh,
apparently in their fight scene, Kit Harington like
well, that's Sansa who does that.
the guy who played Ramsay. Him and Kit were talking because they're about to do the fight scene, and he straight up goes, "Fucking deck me, like go, make it real." Because he's like, I want it to look good on camera. So
I want to see
Kit
that
Harington,
actor.
Kit Harington fucking punched this dude in the face. Like
He needs to be in so much more. If he was the Joker,
That's what I've been saying this whole time. He needs to be Robert Pattinson's Joker.
I want to know what else he's been. I feel like most of those actors just go back and do more BBC, like British TV.
well, did Theon go? He did
John
John Wick,
Wick.
but that's the same typecast as
Yeah.
Bitch Boy.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the Theon getting somewhat redeemed throughout?
He unredeemed himself.
Yeah, he jumped off the boat when his sister was being captured by urine.
Yeah, urine.
Right, I forgot.
And then he runs into John
and
on the beach.
and John's ready to fucking kill him.
And John's like, "You're lucky I don't fucking kill
Oh,
you
so
right
I
now."
wish it was just like
John
2
just
minutes.
fucking hammer fists.
2 minutes, like, which is a long fucking time in cinema of just whoopah, sicka, wah.
Blood progressively soaking John's face. I would nut to that scene.
So you haven't seen the other scene then, I guess, of the
Theon hasn't shown up since then.
We ended
Okay.
the episode when Daenerys' dragons died.
Got it, because there is a scene specifically with Jon and Theon where it's just straight up like, and again, another one of those things where I'm like, you needed more than 1 season length of content for me to buy this, but it's Jon just being like, I forgive you. Yeah. And then Sansa's already forgiven.
That's
just
like
'cause
one of
the
those things
wrestling.
that's
well,
like,
he did save Sansa,
Yeah.
so I can see that being realistic for her.
But that's the thing, and I think that's another reason
okay,
why.
I won't torture you for a week more.
Well, and that's probably why Jon is easier to forgive, just because like, well, you saved Sansa.
If I was John, I would have been like, "You know what, Theon, you were scared. I get it. Let's go have a feast." And then when I take him into the room to have a feast, I would light a torch and hold it up, and it would just be the cross.
it's the what is it called? The flayed man.
The flayed man cross is like, hey, no, he turns around and it's Ramsay again. You
Oh
thought
my god!
He pulls off his face, and it's Ramsay.
Ramsay became a faceless man just to torment Theon.
God, that would be so fucking hard. I would love that so much.
Everything's been done just to torment Theon. Like Theon finds out, oh yeah, no, the Starks are all dead. All this stuff's happened.
John never revived.
Yeah, like he's like, yeah, I've been doing all this just to ruin your life.
God,
more.
that would make me so happy.
No, but yeah, no, Theon gets a redemption arc in these next 2 seasons.
He
or a
does,
season.
but it's just like,
Well, it's honestly it's worse in the books. Theon's whole thing is like, obviously, you know, I don't know the actor's name, but he's like a decently looking dude. Even after being tortured, you're like, yeah, he's like, whatever. In the books, his hair is like borderline white. It's all like it's
Patchy.
most of it's been
Stress.
falling out and whatever. He is the
He turns into Smeagol.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
like straight up, like Theon is like a taller, lankier version of Smeagol, and he will constantly just be like he says "reek" all the time.
Reek.
But and the problem is that Ramsay's made it to where like he's pretty much he's acting like the Reek before him because Ramsay's fucked his mind so bad that he's like, oh, I've just been Reek my whole life. There's no Theon.
Love that.
And I love how much you hate Theon.
I fucking hate Theon, and I really loved Ramsay. I'm sorry, and I know he had to die. Like that, it was good that he died, and I loved the way that they killed him and the whole battle. It was the dopest shit ever. But I still love Ramsay.
I'm glad though that the turning point was when he killed Osha.
Yeah, because Osha was one of my favorite characters. She hadn't shown up much, but
I love that.
Well,
moment.
it's like the Stark effect that Theon didn't embrace.
yeah,
It's like it's the two different parallels. It's like they had every right to kill Osha, and they were like, no, we're not even going to make you a slave. Like you're going to be treated well.
you're just gonna hang out and live here with us.
Yeah, and like you're going to be treated well. You're not going to be like, like you probably shouldn't leave, but like you still try to kill Bran and
Theon is one of Theon's one of those characters that like I hate, but I also am like, damn, like, because you see, like, especially, and this is another thing where I would just say read the books. I think they did a really good job of it because you get to hear their thoughts and hear what they think. Theon, his whole life, it's less apparent in the movies, in the show, because it's like, oh, he's their brother. In the books, Theon is constantly just at the brothel, getting drunk as shit, and like, but his only friend is Robb. Him and Jon don't get along. Sansa doesn't like him. Arya doesn't like him. Robb's his only friend, and even then, there's a constant of like, well, Robb's gonna be the heir of Winterfell. I'm just a prisoner. And in the books, it is apparent that it's like, no, you're not another son or part of the family. He's like Sansa's like childhood friend Jean or whatever. He's just another guy who lives in the castle, but you're not important. You'll just kind of be here to be friends with my son until he's old enough, and you can go do whatever you want after that.
Well, that's why the shows make it even worse though, because you're like, they fucking cared for you.
But that's the thing, yeah. In the show, they made it worse. In the books, it's like when
it's more in character for him to portray them.
Yeah, well, and then especially when you meet Yara, yeah, that's her name, sister. You meet the actual people, and then now it's like, because Ned basically just kind of not ignores him, but just kind of lets him be. It's like, he doesn't have any expectations for Theon. He's literally just there.
And it's not like Theon can just run away. It's like, no, this is your home.
If he runs, he's dead.
Well, if he runs away, there's nothing for him.
And so then
Anywhere.
when he goes back home, and it's
so what are you gonna do? Run away?
Yeah, it's basically just pressure of like, you're Theon Greyjoy, you're one of us, you're on Ironborn. Like, oh, you're just gonna, what are you, one of those Stark bitches? Oh, they do all this stuff, and they pretty much are just belittling the Starks.
I mean, they get that first, from the dad. The dad portrays
all of them did it to him in the books.
Yeah,
Yara does it. Everyone does it. We're like, oh, you're one of them Stark bitches. Like, and the only time that he fights back is when they shit talk Robb. Every other one, they're like, oh, I gotta hear, like they shit talk Sansa. He's like, well, I mean, they shit talk Arya, shit talk Ned. Anytime they shit talk Robb, that's the only time he's ever gone like, oh, well, hold on. But then throughout all the stuff that happens and whatever else, he betrays them, and because it's like, yeah, constantly he's being pulled from, like, he literally just wanted to be somebody important, and he didn't get that with his actual birth family because he got, they fucked up and he became a ward. Ned really didn't give a shit about him. Didn't really care. And then it's like, yeah,
poor Rickon.
Yeah, no,
poor fucking Rickon.
Rickon didn't do shit. He was just a kid.
I said run.
Fuck.
Yeah, that was fucked up.
Even BJ was like, he's gonna kill him. There's no way.
Yeah, he's not making it back.
Well, I mean, even Sansa was like, said that, was like, there's no way he's leaving Rickon alive.
Yeah.
Like the only surviving son of Winterfell, because everyone thought Bran was dead, and then, but even if Bran came back, Bran's like, I'm working through it.
Bran don't want that shit.
I'm the three-eyed raven now. I'm not a Stark.
God, I can't wait for him to just see the end where everybody goes. I cannot wait for you to see, like, oh, this is where Jon is, this is where Sansa is, this is where Daenerys is, this is where we put them at the end of the show. This is the conclusion. And I just can't wait for you to be like, wait, what?
Well, we'll see.
We'll see. Man, I'm really excited. It's
I'm kind of hyped for these grilled cheeses. I'm
Yeah,
not
it's
gonna lie.
I love how cold it's been. Have you?
Yes.
Definitely.
It's been wonderful.
I like being able to dress in all my black clothes, layers.
Sweats in the podcast room instead of us needing the fan and sweating.
That's the nicest thing of all.
Yeah. So maybe next week we'll get some hot chocolate with some rum or some brandy.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Eggnog maybe.
Yeah. Eggnog like is really weird for me because sometimes it hits and sometimes it doesn't.
I like eggnog if I'm already drunk. Like
I like a lot of things if I'm drunk.
If I'm already drunk, eggnog is like the best thing I've ever tasted.
It's a weird drink of like because real eggnog is like raw eggs, heavy whipping cream or like heavy cream,
50% egg, 50% nog.
nutmeg, and like rum. So it's a bizarre drink. So, well, also shout out to our sponsor Dubby. We love them. Drink it every morning. Keeps me awake. Use your code.
Take it sleazy.
For 10% off. They're coming out with new flavors. If you might be able to get it. It's
They got the last shipment up right now,
So
but it's
pomegranate one, right?
pomegranate.
cherry blossom pomegranate.
That's right. And they're great. They got new shakers made in the USA. Hell yeah, brother. And
Very well made.
we love them. And check us out on TikTok, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and all other places you get podcasts. And as always,
Take it sleazy.